Positive energy all the time. Good to see everyone this evening. Well, this morning, I should say. Getting the day started early. Going to talk a little bit about politics. Chime in. Represent your city. I am representing Chicago, Illinois. Come on in. We got San Jose in the building. We've got Bridgeport in the building. We got Atlanta here. We got New York here. Come on in. Rep your city. I am representing Chicago, Illinois, of course. And I'm going to talk about politics. When I get up, sometime I go and check my social media. And ever since the last presidential election, the political coverage is, I think, overbearing. I think they're overdoing it. And it's just politics, nothing important, a lot of bickering, it looks like. This party against this party, that party against that party. And the politicians are doing a horrible job. A horrible job. This is the worst presidency I've ever seen in my life. The most divisive presidency I've ever seen. And it's extremely negative, for sure. Extreme. This is a very extremely negative political climate. It's going to go bad. One thing in this country, that this country definitely needs more input from sociologists and psychiatrists. Because it's surely it's absolutely horrible. And it's getting to the point where I might just have to go and block a lot of the people that are reporting on politics. I might have to just unsubscribe for a while. It's a little childish, a little ridiculous. It's very unenjoyable to talk about on social media. Not, I'm trying not to pay it too much attention. Visor. It's a little, eh, a little ridiculous. More of a circus, distractions. It seems that law enforcement is only for the poor because, from what I've seen, people are supposed to be in prison already. Just on some of the pictures and comments, people are totally unfit to even be in office. So the fact you can make certain comments and do certain things and be in office, that tells you everything right there. That's everything you need to know. Imagine talking about releasing files when the victims could be interviewed. You know, the victims is here. Have the victims on CNN, MSNBC, CBS, open and shut. Why are the victims in the back room somewhere kept quiet? If they won the Super Bowl, they'd have microphones in their faces. It's all that whole situation reveals a culture, and that's why it's not just about the people involved with that. It reveals a culture, and that's the big worry is unveiling this culture that everybody knows. It's no secret. So they're just playing like a political games. Once you get so many people to play the political game, it's impossible for you to get anything done or accomplish anything. because anything you say, they throw you in the game. You know it's bad when you vote for a person and they call a person a whole party. It's totally ridiculous. If somebody's running for president and you vote for them, they say you're voting for the whole party. So you can't just like somebody that's running for president, vote for them. They've brainwashed the people that voting for this one person is voting for that whole party. That's some serious brainwashing. That's serious. That's some serious brainwashing. So that means I don't have to vote. 4 years later, I don't have to vote for a president. 4 years later, I don't have to vote for a president. And then the next 4 years, I see somebody I like and vote for them, and they say I vote for the whole party. I can't just vote for the person. I vote for the party, the whole party. Just that concept alone is a game. It's a mental game, very dangerous game, and it's really dumbing down Americans because there's no way voting for one person is voting for a party. That doesn't even make much sense. You can't really have party politics. And so the fact that they're playing this game and they've sold American party politics, I tell you, you lost right there. Americans that got them, they're gone. You're lost. You believe there's Democrats and Republicans, which is the most ridiculous nonsense ever. That's not really politics at all. So imagine all the young people coming up that believe that's politics. Imagine the amount of trolls I have to deal with over here that believe that that is politics, that actually believe that. They believe politics is Democrat, Republican. It's absolutely madness. So once you believe politics is Democrat, Republican, you don't have to deal with anything. You're just red and blue. You don't have to deal with any of the various nuances that goes with governing. The people bought into it. It's the craziest thing ever. Absolute madness. Come on in though, hit the like button, share, subscribe, support the channel. Hit the super chat, CashApp, Venmo, PayPal. Subscribe to the channel, watch me. I could help deprogram you so you will not be caught up into the nonsense. It would be totally impossible for you to really like Trump is not it it's it's impossible for him to be a good president and be a Republican president. That's impossible. but they got people believing that. And so if I can be a Democratic president or Republican president, I only got to worry about two or three things because there's only two or three things on the Democratic agenda and two or three things on the Republican. And I don't have to deal with anything. This is all new. This is not traditional politics. This is all Big Brother brainwashing because in reality, politics would break down into various industries and businesses, would be real politics. So it would be based off of, you know, this type of farming, dairy farming, beef production. It would be broken down into the various industries and businesses and needs of the people. So it wouldn't be blue and red. It would be a lot more detailed than that. I mean, if it was real, you would discuss the details about what you're going to do for the farmers in various parts of the country with various products. It's because the farmers that's growing wheat really don't need the same thing that the cattle ranchers need. So imagine the detail if we were dealing with real governing. Imagine the detail like it used to be. And so the reason you had all these different congressmen and senators, their job was supposed to bring all these different details. They wasn't supposed to go to Washington and just be MAGA. They wasn't just supposed to go to Washington and be Dems and Republicans. That's not how that was supposed to work. You're supposed to be going and dealing with the particular industries in your state. So every politician is supposed to be an individual, and the only unity would be on certain subjects that states a lot of times close together deal with, like the bread basket. So if you're there where it's a bunch of farmers growing wheat, then your four senators or your four governors and congressmen that represent these areas, they would have a lot in common to make sure they get everything necessary for wheat production in that area. They wouldn't be Democrat and Republican like that. They would might be moderates, but they would have to deal with the wheat. You don't see those discussions anymore. You don't see specific discussions on the auto industry, the cattle industry, the people, because the farmers that grow strawberries need something different than the farmers that grow corn. These would have to be very specific discussions, and the people would be having to be focused on these specific discussions. You wouldn't be able to just be MAGA. You would have to know what that president is going to do specifically in your state, so your state can be productive and so people would have jobs and stuff like that. It would be in very much detail. It wouldn't be like it is now. There's no detail. There is none. You don't hear any discussions about the peach crop in Georgia or anything like that. I mean, I don't hear it. Not like I used to when I was young. When I was young, you know, when they went to Washington, D.C., it was all about various congressmen and senators showing the rest of the congressmen and senators hey, we need help in Nebraska for this particular crop or for this particular problem. It wasn't about like red or blue. We don't have any red or blue corn. We don't have like red or blue cattle or red or blue strawberries or watermelons, or we don't have no red or blue jobs. We don't have no red or blue transportation system or red or blue educational system. That doesn't exist. Why would you have an educational system that's red and blue, and the red and the blue can't read and can't write, and America's like 25th in the world? We ain't in the top 10 highest IQ in the world. The top 7 is all Asian countries. And you talking about red or blue, and Americans can't read or do math. Do we got red math and blue math? I didn't know. I thought it was just math. It's totally yeah, they don't know how to tell time. They got digital stuff. They don't know how to tell time. And if you don't know how to tell time, that's going to affect your math skills, because the clock is how you know a quarter, half. So the clock teaches you division and multiplication. You got to know that 10 minutes plus 10 minutes is 20 minutes. They're not doing any of that right now. I mean, you got a president that doesn't even read that well. He has to practice. He can't read. It's unbelievable. So it's just a big old Democrat versus Republican like game. And it's perfect because they've totally turned American men into cheerleaders. All they do is worry about who won the football game or the baseball game or the basketball game or the hockey game. So they're gone. I remember when adult men didn't really take sports that serious. I'm born 1950. I remember when men didn't take professional sports that serious. People wasn't fighting all at the 49ers games. Nobody was doing all that. Like nobody took that serious. I remember what sports was, the biggest thing of sports was getting your son involved, was the American, the main thing Americans concentrated on. Do your son play up at school? Do the children play around the house? Do the boys play baseball and softball around the house? That was bigger than the sports teams. The sports teams used to encourage the young boys to go play, but it wasn't like now. You definitely didn't have gambling. You didn't have sports brought to you by the mob. Like, what are you sports brought to you by gambling? It's like, well, that just show you how far we fell. Like, sports is brought to you by gambling companies. Like, wow. And now you got grown men, they arguing about some other grown men playing a game, which is feminine. I don't. And so I had to talk about this because, I can't go on my phone. I can't go nowhere. That's all this is just Trump, Epstein, Epstein, Trump, Trump, Epstein, Democrats, Republicans, the House, the Senate. Every day, every day, every day, no other news. That's the main focus in America. It's and they ain't getting nothing done. They just doing they just talking on the news. You're like, do they ever get anything done? Or are they just doing sound bites for the news every day, all day? They're not getting anything done. Nobody's minding the store. It's weird. I think that we need to get our youth involved in it. And I don't understand. I don't understand foundational Black Americans. I don't know what happened to you all. I don't. You have no agenda. You have nothing. You just follow anybody. You allow black men to go against the grain, and it's cute. I remember, man, we didn't have social media. Man, if you went against the grain like brothers be doing nowadays, man, listen. Now, as a black man, if you see a lot of black people going this way, you could go that way. Just cause. You can go out your way to go the other way. And then you can go do live streams and you can rub it in your people's faces. I'm not going with my people. I'm going over this way. And so you got black men have no political nothing for their own race and their own people. They don't believe you have to have group politics while they're joining in somebody else's group politics. And they don't even know it. It's like you're involved in group politics, dude. What are you talking about? And it's not your group. you know what? America is race politics, racial and economic and gender politics. That's what it is. Are you trying to pretend it's not? I guess. I mean, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot of confusion because the black man is not involved politically. He's a spectator. He has no political uh, responsibility. He's totally irresponsible to his people politically. Totally. No political responsibility at all. When you're in the black community, the only time you see black men talk about politics is when they lying and fronting on social media. That's why social media, I don't be impressed because social media is phony. So I don't believe nothing that people be typing because I can't be outside in the world and see you as a people acting one way and then get on social media. I'm supposed to believe that this is you, but you ain't like that in the world. You like that on social media. Once you get off social media, you don't see none of this stuff. You don't you don't see none of this weirdo stuff once you get off social media. You only see it on social media. It's so bad that they try to even take social media outside and be live outside. They be outside on social media. So even outside be phony now. because they on social media. They inside, outside. They inside of social media, outside. They outside, but they inside the phone. They're not like in the world. They're outside. They're in the social media world outside. And as soon as they log off, everything they said disappears, doesn't exist. Like some kind of magic, like Alice in Wonderland type. It's crazy. You go outside, you don't see none of this stuff. You go in the store, you don't see no political action at all. They can charge you $9 for a loaf of bread. You ain't gonna see nobody say nothing. You don't see any political action once you get off social media and once you turn the news off. It's like it's a fake political world. It's like fake. Totally fake. And they're just bombarding the people with this fake big brother. Yeah, I need to read 1984 because this is surely 1984. 1984 was a good book because it was just like what y'all living in had. Everybody believing this was real. And at the end, the people that left out of that little matrix and they got out in the world and found out that it was all a lie, that it was a fake, that everything they was watching on their screens, on their TVs and their radio was all a little box and it wasn't even real life. That other people didn't even know nothing about it. The only difference between 1984 is these evil people are taking their weapons of mass destruction and their politics and their planes, their military, and they're trying to push their agenda in foreign and small places. They're trying to go on tropical islands and push this in the middle of nowhere. They want everybody to bow to the beast. It's the most craziest thing. And so uh, I don't know how foundational Black Americans are going to get out of this to build their own, because we need our own political structure. Because we live in Black communities. Some of you lived in mixed communities, but you live in Black communities. You know what I'm saying? So we need to have our own structure, and you would have to be active and be willing to make change. And you need large active numbers, not just social media numbers. You like active numbers. Like reparations is a social media movement. It's not an active movement. It's only on social media. That's why it's not that big. And we have to build a coalition based off of specifically what we want. And you have to close that coalition down. And you have to ignore everybody that's not with it. And that's where we make a big mistake. You let people that's not with it come into what you're trying to do while you're trying to build it. So if I'm trying to build something, somebody will come over here and start questioning me to take away from the build. If I'm trying to build something, I don't have time to talk to you. I don't have time to argue with you. It's real simple. I want to build this. You want to help? Yes or no? You want to ask me all other kind of questions? I'm gonna ask you one more time. I want to build something. You want to help? Yes or no? You don't answer, block, go. You block. Get somebody over here that want to help build. You shouldn't be talking to no black brother that don't want to do what you want to do, that want to debate. Basically, we don't need. I mean, we a government system. If you don't, if you got unity, what's the difference? You're gonna have to have unity to have a government system. So why you just don't have unity? Why you gotta why you gotta say let's put a system together first to find out you don't got no unity? You still gonna go back to the drawing board, Josh. You ain't gonna have no unity. So build what? You don't need any system. You need what do you want? You need open discussions on what you want. All the time you'll be trying to discuss to form something. You could have just discussed what you're going to discuss after you form it. So let's say you say let's form our own government. Okay, when we form our own government, what do we want? Okay, we could have just asked for, we could have just went after what we want. Why would we form a government, then go back now and then try to get what we want? Why can't we just get what we want with the same energy that we trying to form something to form something, which won't work? It's not gonna work. You know it and I know it, Josh. You know they ain't going. You know that's not going to work. You'll be round and around with that too. So if you don't handle the problem of division, if you don't handle the problem of people going against everything, you can do nothing, Josh. Period. If you have like minds and get in conversations like this and build like that, that's just as great as anything else. But it would be based on kicking everybody out that's not with the program. And that's the problem, Josh. And that if you wanted to build a government, y'all would spend 20 years arguing with people that say, we don't need a government. Yes, we do. No, we don't. Yes, we do. No, we don't. And that's the problem. It's still gonna be the same thing. Same thing, different toilet. The key is, what do you want? Period. Even if you had a system, what do you want when you had a system? You can't have a system if you don't know what you want. What do we want? Nobody knows, Josh. There is no discussion on what foundation of Black Americans want. You hear reparations. What do we want in day to day life? That's not discussed. Not that I've ever seen it before. Where's the list? Show me the list where we've been discussing what we want. I haven't seen it. We don't want nothing. And so people think building, Josh, they think building is getting people together. No, building is getting rid of people that distract the build. Building is, if I want 10 people to start a baseball team, that's it. The only people we paying attention to is the 10 people that show up to play ball. Somebody to show up to want to argue. Somebody want to show up and we trying to get 10 people to play baseball. Somebody to show up talk about basketball can't come in. Somebody to show up talk about anything other than the baseball team can't come in. So our problem is we let people in because we won't distinctly say what we want to get. This is what we want. Who's with it, come in. Who's not with it, you don't exist. We're not going to debate you. But the brothers that have come in it will come in it and bring the mentality of the people against it. Pharaoh, dude said he against it. Kick him, get him out of here. You bring opposition with you when we're trying to do something. You come tell us about everybody that's against it. We're supposed to be trying to find more people that's with it. What do the black man in America do? He bring information and he reposts everybody that's against it. So you say, we want 20 people to play baseball. Dude come. Johnny and them said we should be playing basketball. And you let him in the room. You let him in the room talk about basketball. It's just like, well, I'll be watching it. One mission, you with it or split it. And when you go hardcore like that and you shut yourself off, people will come. Oh, this is shut off. I'm in. You come, I'm in, but okay, get out until you get rid of the butt. Get out. You and your butt. Get out. Then you could build. Then you got a coalition gonna go somewhere. You don't discuss the ops. You don't discuss the enemy. You don't answer questions that don't support your movement. Why? Why are you answering questions that go against what you're trying to do? That's like you got 30 minutes to build something and you take 15 to do something else. Now you only got 15 minutes, you can't build what you're going to build because you over here on something that ain't got nothing to do with building. You over here waste 15 minutes or somebody want to argue with you about building it rather than just build it. This is what I've been seeing. As soon as I say, hey, let's do this, a brother gonna come. Why we gonna do that? Hey, let's be this. Why we can't be the Moors? Why we can't? Okay, get him out of here. It ain't the fact what you saying, it's the fact don't come over here with it. Go find you somewhere else with that. We ain't picking nothing. We kicking people out. Then the team will be what's left. We just not dealing with anybody that's not on point. It's not really that hard. We're making all of our movements difficult. We're making it difficult. We're bringing up problems and spending time trying to solve make-believe problems that we bring up. That's a distraction from just doing what we got to do. Then you want to know why the gangs are so big. Because the gangs do what you want to do. You want to be GD? I write you GD. And that's that. And ain't no, oh, you want to be GD but nothing. So that's why the gangs do better than what we do. Because you want to be in the gang, ain't no but. You in or you out. Period. And you ain't in, you ain't around. You ain't around. You're not around. If you go to the Cook County jail right there, the fin ball sitting over there. The 6 sitting over there. You can't sit over here. We don't want to hear what you got to say. Go over there and say it. You can't say it over there. You're nobody over here. You're somebody over there. That's how they build. That's how you build what you want. You don't concentrate on somebody that's not building what you want. You can build what you want with people that want to build what you want. You don't need everybody. You just need the ones who want to build what you want. That's it. You don't need everybody. You just need a strong coalition on what you want and make it be clear if you come over here, you in or you out. You cannot come over here if you're not in. And if we having a meeting and you come asking something contrary, you get escorted out. We don't want to talk to you. Period. We don't want to talk to you at all. We're stacking bricks. We don't want you coming over here taking bricks, sitting them back on the ground. That's basically what we're letting people do. You're stacking bricks, you're building, and you let somebody come and take, okay, we sit there, get him out of here. If you move like that, then people would say, that movement powerful. Then that movement will grow. But once you let distractors show the movement is flagrant, the movement is wishy-washy, it don't go nowhere. It don't go nowhere. Get out. I can go get 20 dudes and we riding hard and we can run your own neighborhood and it could be 200 people over there, but y'all ain't together and us 20 out and y'all can't get 20 people. Y'all might get 3 or 2, but we got 20 people ready to get out right now. Everybody gonna bow down. Everybody. Because you can't get number 10. And that 20 turn to 40, 60, 80, just like that, because things get done. If you ask me. Bill. Never answer questions from people that don't support your movement. Next question. Sit down. Get them out of here. We want questions that's going to build. We don't want questions that's going to destroy. We don't want questions creating doubt. We trying to go this way. We don't want questions about not going this way. You come ask us a question why we can't go this way and why this way ain't going to work. Get them out of here. Once they see like that, distractors won't come. Just like a crew. You know, when we build a crew, you can't get in the crew, you know. You know, the guys I've worked with and hustled with, you know you couldn't come around us. You know that, right? You couldn't come around. You had to be in or out. If you wasn't in, you couldn't come around. You couldn't even come around. No stragglers. Everybody that's around is with it. There were no stragglers. You're going to get a cold shoulder or worse. Because what's your point? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And so it's like black people in America, the black man in America, he got to take them skirts and them dresses off of his mind I ain't saying nothing against gay people. I'm saying the black man is too feminine in his man. He too soft. Everybody want to be a leader that ain't got leader ability to be leaders, and y'all letting dudes that's not leaders want to pretend they leaders and they don't have leadership qualities. And everybody know they don't have leadership qualities. They just hating on somebody that do have leadership qualities. They couldn't lead you out of a paper bag. I've seen how many brothers I've seen come into movements act like they got leadership qualities, and once they don't be in that movement, they don't start nothing else. They couldn't start a movement if their life depended on it. Anybody been watching the Black conscious community all these years? Show me leadership. All them dudes was fraudulent. Every last one. It wasn't a leader nowhere in the whole group. There was nobody had no leadership quality. That's why I ain't mess with it. It wasn't a leader on side of the TV but me. That's a fact. There was no leadership nowhere. Zero. None. I mean none. Absolutely none. Because brothers that had leadership didn't get involved with the conscious community because they could see that there was no leadership. So they exercised their leadership and went into businesses, went into construction, went into things where they could have leadership and build companies and stuff like that. He ain't had no leadership quality. That man can't lead you around the corner. A religious person has no leadership qualities at all. A religious person cannot lead people because they always going to put their religion in front, and you got to be able to lead people beyond a religion. We don't eat religious food. We don't drink religious water. We don't build religious houses. So brothers that's Hebrews and Muslims ain't worth a nickel. They can't do nothing. That's why the Nation of Islam ain't done nothing and ain't going to do nothing. That's why the Nation of Islam don't own one gas station nowhere in the black community because religion. Religious dudes ain't got no leadership. Their leader is Jesus and Allah. They followers. There ain't no leaders. That's why he ain't know what is any of them, what we got going on there for the black community. Why? Where? You see these brothers walk around with these little funny hats on with their little moons and stars on them and little stuff, and they be over here with these brothers for a year or two. Next thing you know, they walk around with a different brother over here, and they over here they pushing this product over there, and 4 years later they over here pushing something else. Every time you look up, they bounce around like a bouncy ball. Hebrew Israelites, all of them, Christians, all of them. Because we're talking about leadership for people, that ain't religious based. Ain't nobody pulling you out your car because you a Christian or you a Muslim or nothing. They pulling you out your car because you black. Nobody caring about them nonsense nut religions. The penitentiary is full of black men, not because of their religion. We underpaid, not because of our religion. We don't got a lot of doctors, not because of our religion. Our schools is suffering. Our HBCUs is suffering. Religion ain't helping the HBCUs. What is it? What is it doing? Because the man got religion He always gonna go to that religion before anything. Before he help his people, whatever, he gonna bow down to his goofy God. And his God don't never show up. Constantly worshiping a God that don't never show up. God don't never roll up his sleeves and do nothing. If you had all these gods, why is evil running rampant? If your God that power, wouldn't be no Epstein files. So your God must be asleep. Where was your God when Epstein was making the files? I thought God was judgment and all this. And all this. I thought God judged wicked. I can't tell, the wicked winning, the righteous losing. In the real world, ain't no God. God don't mess with y'all. God can't stand y'all. Anytime you got a God that make you and give you everything and you constantly leaning on that God, you know that God hates you. What kind of God respects you that made you perfect and gave you everything and you still begging God and on your knees with God and he already gave you everything to succeed? You want God to grow the food, cook the food, put it on your plate and feed you too? Man, listen. Look at Africa. They got all them gods. Africa got all them gods and look at it. Soon as I lean a certain way, brothers gonna run. I can't bring no brothers in nothing when I'm leaning a certain way. Soon as they see I'm too much Rasta, they ain't gonna mess with me. Soon as they see I'm too much Islam, they not gonna mess with me. Too much Christian, too much more. Once you are in all that junk, you run the people away. You can't talk unity and have none of them belief systems on your sleeve. As soon as you got them belief systems on your sleeve, you represent division and failure and a lack of leadership. Because you can only lead another person believe in your religion. Ain't nobody don't believe in your religion gonna fight. Ain't no Christian gonna follow no Muslim. Never. Never. It ain't gonna happen. They'll follow you if you're non-secular and you're talking about business. They'll come work at your business. They'll come help you build homes. They'll come help you build hospitals. But as far as following you with a religious mind state as a religious leader, that's why the Nation of Islam only went so far. Black Christians weren't going to never listen to Farrakhan and follow Farrakhan a day in his life or Elijah. They was never going to go nowhere but so far, period. This is why you seen Martin Luther King try to be more secular. He didn't try to really be Baptist and all that too much. He just tried to be regular. He didn't try to put the church up in it like that. He just tried to talk about civil rights, not religious stuff. You know what I'm saying? We can't do nothing because the black man don't want no leadership, don't have no leadership qualities. Leadership qualities automatically humbles you. True leadership qualities humbles you because you want to do what's best for the people. So you're willing to be the third in command, fifth in, you're willing to get in where you fit in for the people. Whatever for the people. With true leadership, let's say I got true leadership. So let's say I'm working with 10 brothers. And the way they line up, I'm number 8. With true leadership, all 10 of us is number 1s. He just playing number 1 right now. Everybody in this line is a number 1 because you can't be a number 2 because what if number 1 fall? If number 1 fall, we need another number 1. We don't need a number 2. So if the black man got to learn how to put a bunch of number ones together, everybody's number one. But who gonna take care of the business? Who's the spokesperson? Because everybody can't talk at the same time. So just because you're the spokesperson don't mean you greater than nobody. Everybody's just as great as you. That's why we strong. But only one person can talk at a time. So it don't matter who talk. If everybody's a number one, it only matter when you bunch of losers and you know you're a number 4 and you're a half-ass number 3 and you're a number 8 and you ain't standing on nothing. So now dude is really your number one and you hating because you ain't no number one and don't want to be no number one. You a number 8. You don't want to be no number one. So we can't build nothing because we only got one number one and a gang of losers. But if we had 100 number ones, 1,000 number ones, 1,000,000 number ones, we could go somewhere. You wouldn't give a damn. He number one. Everybody number one. You stronger now because everybody number one. You can't knock us off nothing because everybody in here on the same thing. Not no situation where Farrakhan sit down and you got that weirdo light bulb head dude up there talking. Who is he? He's a nobody. They got nobody else. Just Farrakhan and a bunch of losers. If I'm lying, say I'm lying. They got no leaders over there but one. One leader. Every time they had 2 leaders, they didn't want them. They didn't want Malcolm. They didn't want Khalid. They had 2 number ones, 3 number ones. But no, they didn't want 3 number ones. They only wanted 1 number one. And then something happened to have one number one, and now they done. They washed. Because we can't go and build nothing every time. That's why so many brothers like us, we do everything by ourselves to be successful. Because as soon as we start working with another brother, here you come with the nonsense. We can't work with you. Soon as you come, here you come. I mean, it won't be 3 days before you start picking apart what's going on. Right off, you start asking suspicious questions, looking for division. You can't just come in and roll your sleeve in and let's get going. I don't know, man. I don't do all that name dropping. When you drop them names, I got to look at it like this. You drop them names. Now ask yourself what kind of position you put me in. So I'm looking at that funny too, because what you want me to say? Are you dropping them names? What do you want me to say? See, that's what I'm be talking about, see? Because what can I say? Because none of them is put in the number one position. You know what I'm saying? None of them spoke at Savior's Day. None of them is a number one. Them is number 3s and 5s and stuff. With all due respect. Them ain't no number ones. Them is followers. Followers can't be leaders. Them followers. Followers cannot be leaders. Never will be leaders. Hey, Goshen, you already know. 3 days. You already know, Goshen. Immediately. Because they always put themselves above the mission. And you have to put the mission first. And they won't put the mission first. You have to put the mission first. That's what's going on with white America. White America's falling because they won't put the mission first. That's why it's falling. Trump don't want no leadership around him. He won't tell everybody what to do. So if he make a mistake, the whole country just fall because there's nobody saying, "No, you can't do that like that." He ruining the country. Ain't supposed to be no big difference between a 4-star general and a 5-star general. Ain't supposed to be no difference between them. And so this political game they playing right now is very dangerous for us because this political game does not deal with none of the aspects of running a country politically. So our young kids gonna come up, they ain't gonna know nothing. They ain't gonna know the difference in one state or another. All they gonna know is like the president. Our children ain't learning none political. They're not learning that certain things got to be done in states that got railroads and trucking. Something different got to be done over here. Something different got to be done. They just think it's America. They done totally took away all of the information about senators and congressmen. These young Americans don't know nothing about, even the congressmen and senators don't know what they're supposed to be doing. They don't know. They don't even know what they. You don't even never see. Show me where you see them talk about what got to be done in their state. All they talk about is the whole country. That ain't how America used to run. They supposed to be having discussions on what need to be done in each state. America is what? The United what? States. They act like America is just America. No, America, the U.S., is United States. So they're supposed to be going to Washington and working on what needs to be done in each state. No, they in there making the United States one fake imaginary place. Then you're going to go down here and buy beef from Venezuela while the dudes up here, the farms up here, going broke, losing their farms, and they ones got the beef. And you're gonna go down there and buy beef down there from El Salvador or wherever because the you know why they going to buy beef from South America, because the congressmen and senators in these states that got the beef is kitty cats. That's why. That's why, because the congressmen and senators and governors of the states that raise cattle ain't nothing but some losers. They done got caught up in Trump politics and they did not go in there and represent their state and represent the men in their state that raise cattle. And that's what they were supposed to do. Every representative was supposed to go to make sure their state is taken care of. It's not the United States, it's the United States. That never would have happened when I was growing up. Whoever was in them states, they would have made sure Trump took care of that state and the beef production in that state. They ain't teaching young people nothing. That's why I'm frustrated. I get up and turn on news. They're not teaching my children because I got grown children. They're not around me. They're not learning nothing. They know nothing about the United States. I mean, nothing. Nobody's talking about the senators and the congressmen and what each state's supposed to have. I mean, nobody. Nobody's talking about what the country's supposed to do for California, Oregon, the state of Washington, Alaska, Florida, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi. These are states that we're supposed to be talking about what needs to be done for these states. And if you don't take care of every state and all the states is weak, how the United States gonna be strong if the states in the United States is weak? They don't never, man, show me where they talking about the states. All of the Congress, listen, every politician need to be fired. Every politician in the United States need to be put out of office right now. And they need to have emergency elections and they need to hire some new people to be these congressmen and senators and governors and mayors. Every political office need to be fired. Every last one of them. Fired. Get out. Every last one of them. Every last politician need to be fired. All of them. City council, everybody, get out. One by one. Start at the top and work your way down. Give you time to replace them. Especially nothing. I didn't say no especially. See, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. See? You see what I'm showing you? You see what I did I give any stipulations? I said every one of them, didn't I? He talking about especially. Because it ain't 75-year-olds that ain't stand up for the farmers. It ain't 75-year-old politicians ain't standing up for your board of education. And ain't none of them standing up. You can fire all the older politicians you want. You're still full of losers that came in there and they did their job. It's all full of losers because if they coming into a government that's not run right, they think that's how it's ran. If you come into something and it's already being run this way, you think that's how it go. So all the young politicians, they don't know nothing about politics. They know nothing. Nothing. The states are collapsing. And they trying to save the country with the states collapsing. You can't help Chicago but let Illinois collapse. You can't help New York City but let the state of New York collapse. Because you got to understand, Washington, D.C. ain't no state. It's a territory. After the Civil War, they carved out a territory that's supposed to be non-partial. That's why they don't have state prisons in D.C. It's the one place that's supposed to be neutral. But they're not teaching our people enough politics. But you turn on news every day, they got political news on there. How they got political news on my TV, on my internet every day, but none of the youth know no politics. Make some sense. It's irritating. No young Americans know nothing about politics, but every day, the Midas touch, MSNBC, Fox, see, I can go on and on. They on there whining and gossiping, but they ain't teaching the Americans nothing about politics. They all trying to get views and money for their little channels or whatever. But they ain't teaching the young people nothing. Like young Americans don't know nothing about politics. Nothing. Nothing. Nobody's taking care of the states. Bridges is rotting, gonna start falling. The infrastructure in the country destroyed. Because ain't nobody, because if you don't pay attention to the state, then you don't pay attention to the counties. If you don't pay attention to the counties, then you can't pay attention to the cities and villages and towns. All that stuff collapsed. You should see these suburbs outside of Chicago, they all collapsed. Collapsed. One fire department is out there for all the south suburbs. where they done put all their attention on the federal government, no attention on state, city, county, local government. None. None. It's like Trump with an expensive suit on, your whole body rotten. That's the United States. You can't keep this country running with your big cities or with Washington, D.C. You got to do the small places. The small places is what make a country pop. It's not the big places. If Illinois not doing good, Chicago gonna fall. You can't just prop up Chicago. You can't just prop up the big cities. You have to prop up the small places. You could get a bad spot on your little toe and get cancer and kill your whole body. Your little toe. Your little toe could destroy, kill your whole body. Look at Bob Marley. Your little toe. Let it get infected and don't take care of it. It's sad. And so I can't save everybody, but I can definitely tell Black Americans we need to start having meetings and we need to fix ourselves. Instead of taking your ass to church, we need to be having political studies on Sunday. Where our children can go and learn politics of running the county. They need to learn how to run counties and villages and cities and states in the country. That's what they need to be learning. That's what our youth need to be learning. The real political system, how you run stuff. Politics ain't just walk around with a suit on. You understand? They need to know real politics from the rooter to the tutor. Because this is not politics. This is letting billionaires and oligarchs buy everything and turn the place to a skeleton. Because you could be the sold a place where people don't even live here. They live in Europe somewhere. They live in China. They live in Europe. They don't even live here. What they care? They'll drain this place bone dry. All the money going out the country. All of it. All the money's going out of the country. Every dime is leaving. He ain't making no America great. He making America broke. And when Trump get out of office, his family gonna take that money and move somewhere else. They ain't gonna even live here. They gonna leave. And you're gonna look up and all these rich Americans that sold the country out, they're gonna be living somewhere over in Europe somewhere. Watch. Watch. They're gonna go build somewhere over there, they're gonna be gone. They're gonna be in Pride or somewhere like that. Watch. They're gonna bleed this country dry. Because the news ain't telling you nothing. They talking about Epstein. Why they go down there and take this oil from Venezuela, and you ain't gonna see a dime of that money. The man gonna drive you in the hole by $30,000 and promise you $2,000 because Americans is in the hole by $30,000 apiece. Every American is $30,000 in the hole. Supposed to have $30,000 that came through their hand that didn't. Not no $2,000. He done cheated every American. This is regular Americans at work. He done robbed you out of 30,000. That's just since he been in office. 30,000 persons. You've been robbed of it. Because they already had got started because they had Biden in there and he didn't know where he was. And nobody didn't want to understand that Biden and Trump is the same thing. It's some old dudes that don't know what they're doing and don't run nothing. Same people that ran Biden is running Trump. Duh. It's the same people. And hell no, they weren't going to put no prosecutor in there. They knew they was going to prison. That's a whole nother video for another day. They wasn't going to put no prosecutor in there. Or it was going to be some prosecution going on. They knew that. They're like, we going to prison. Boy, they would be under the prison. If you only knew the crooked stuff they doing. The concept of income tax is them giving back what we overpaid them. Income tax, the concept of income tax. The concept of income tax is they take your money to help pay stuff, and then they make some profits and they give you the money back because you didn't pay them. FICA, you didn't pay them; they took it. So you didn't overpay them. When I started working at the book factory and got my first check, it said FICA. FICA had took my money. I didn't pay FICA. Paying is if you got money, I give it to you. You never get it. They take your money you work for. You work so many hours and they take your money that you're supposed to get paid. The money that the job's supposed to pay you, they take it. Then they were supposed to invest it. And then they were supposed to give it back to you. The investment was supposed to grow and then cover Social Security, welfare, unemployment, and all that with the profits. So it's like I take your money, I take 1,000 from you, I double it. Or I make it up to 10,000. Then I give you the 1,000 back. So I still got 9,000. But I made that off of your money. Now the 9,000 keep growing. And then this is your Social Security, your retirement, all these different things. If something happened to you, medical in case of emergency, stuff like that. From the profits of your money that I invested into the country. So they'd be there to take care of you when you get old, whatever. You might get hurt. You might got to go on SSI. You might not be able to get Social Security. A lot of people don't get the Social Security from retire. Some people get Social Security from being hurt, where you got to go see doctors. And when they find you disabled, then you get a check. So a lot of people that's getting disability, that's not even money that they put into the system. That's money from the profits that the rest of us put into the system that's growing. But then that gets back to what I'm saying. That's why the Congress and the Senate are supposed to work better, because the president and them are supposed to be working with Idaho, with Iowa, with Illinois, with Indiana, with Nebraska, with Oklahoma. This is how we manage the money of the country. The Congress and the Senate are supposed to be coming to the president and coming to Washington with what's needed for each and every state to do what it's got to do. They ain't doing none of that. They in there beefing. Shut the whole government down. So if you're in Nebraska, nothing got taken care of. If you're in Illinois, nothing got taken care of. You in the state of New York, nothing got to take us. State of Washington, nothing. State of California, Oregon. Do I got to name them all? New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida. Nothing got taken care of. None of the money to help the states, because the money go from the cities and little places up to the city government, up to the county, to the state, to the feds, then back down to county, state, like that. Go back down. I mean, state, county, city, then to the precinct, to every area. So when that money comes back down into Chicago, then it goes to those aldermen. Then those aldermen supposed to be in these areas taking care of business. But if they could just keep talking about Washington, D.C., that means the governors could rob you now. The senators could rob you now. The county, people that run the county can rob you now. The Secretary of State can rob you now. The mayor could rob you. The aldermen can rob you because they not talking real politics. They talking Washington, D.C. So now where's the rest of our money that's supposed to come back down into all these different branches of the country? They running the game, so you ain't paying attention. Your money's supposed to be coming back down. Where's the money supposed to come to Cook County, Illinois? Money's supposed to come to Illinois, then supposed to go to Cook County, to Page County, this county, that county. Then it's supposed to go down to them cities, and then down to them aldermen in all those different precincts. And that's why you got seats for the sit when the bus comes, and something to cover you when the bus comes so it don't rain, all of this. That's how the garbage get collected and all of that. Then they robbing all the money, so then they go up on your property taxes like they doing in Illinois. So now they finna go way up on these people's property taxes and make you pay money because they took the money that's supposed to come back down. That's why your property taxes high, because all that money you paid for FICA was supposed to come back down to the county, to the city, to help pay to take care of you in that city. Ain't no money came down. So they rob you with federal income tax, then they rob you with property taxes. When your income tax is supposed to cover your property taxes. Yes. Your income tax supposed to go to government. They supposed to double, triple it, quadruple it, make more money. Then they supposed to pass it back down state, county, local. No, they steal it. And then you got to come and pay the local money because none of your money come back down. That money's supposed to come back down. And it don't. Because they in there arguing, right, to distract American citizens so you don't pay no attention that them suckers in Washington ain't doing no state work, ain't doing no county work, ain't doing no municipal work in none of these cities and none of these townships and villages. They robbing because everybody is paying now. Everybody is paying federal tax. Everybody. Every county, everybody paying what you get back. All that money that go from your little small, you might live in a little small town. Y'all money still go to them. How much that money they give you back? Nothing. That money never come back down. Don't invest in nobody. Not just blacks. No, not just. They don't invest in nobody. Nobody gets that money back. Nobody. If they was cheating blacks, It would be just a small problem where the blacks at. Why everywhere broke? We only 13% of the population. Why the whole country broke? Blacks don't run Vegas. Why Vegas broke? Blacks don't run California. Why the whole California broke? Blacks ain't got nothing to do with Oregon. Why Oregon broke? Why Washington up there here? Why they broke? Why Wyoming broke? Why Utah broke? Why all them predominantly white states broke? Homeless people everywhere. They ain't robbing black people. They robbing everybody. They robbing everybody. They use white supremacy to rob white people. Tell them, y'all special. You know what I'm saying? If you tell white Americans when they wake up, they're gonna be pissed. They tell them, no, y'all special. Taking their houses like a mug. Man, you know how many white people losing their homes right now, going into foreclosures left and right. White people in Florida losing their homes. They can't even afford property taxes. They saying that if the hurricane hit their house, they're gonna have to try to pay for it. They're gonna have to try to save their property tax money. And when the hurricane hit the house, they're gonna just have to fix it themselves. Racism is to make suckers out of white people. How long I've been telling y'all that racism ain't real? Racism is used to put white people to sleep, to cheat white people. That's a fact. It's used to cheat white people, I'm telling you. To have them looking at us so they won't be looking at their own situation. 50-year mortgage ain't black, Josh. Racism is a game, man. Race is a game that they used against white people. Race never had nothing to do with black people like that. Somebody gonna say, Pharaoh, you don't know what you're talking about. The black man's in all these penitentiaries. And who in there with him? The white man. Who in their garden and walking around that's broke? All them penitentiaries is in poor white places where poor white men gotta go to work and he work in the prison. Tell me somebody to get up and go to work in the prison every day. Ain't no prisoner. He the worst prisoner. He got to get up and get dressed every day and go to prison. Listen, if you're a white man in one of these small states and you start working at the prison at 20 years old, and you're going to retire at 65, that's 45 years, right? If I get 10 years, who doing the most time? I'm going to do 10 years and go home. You're going to still be going down there. I remember I was in the county jail. I was in my tip teacher. You know, the tip, it ain't a cell, it's like a little room. So they said we call it the tip. So I'm in the tip teaching. Brothers all outside listening to me, right? So the lieutenant, the black lieutenant, come through the crowd because he want to know what's going on. Why is all these people around my door trying to hear what I'm in here saying? So the black lieutenant came in. Boom! I just said, "All right, y'all. Now look at lieutenant." I said, Lieutenant ain't like us, y'all. They had to drag us down here, didn't they? Boy, they had to put the cuffs on us and drag us. I said, now, Lieutenant, he get up every day. He take a shower. He shave. He eat breakfast. He put his clothes on. Every day he come to jail. Every day on his own, y'all. He come to jail every day. Y'all getting I-bonds. Y'all getting bail. Y'all cases getting thrown out. Y'all going to prison doing 5 years and going home. And guess where Lieutenant gonna be? He gonna be back. He gonna still be down here And they got his black ass in the basement and they got the white ones upstairs. But they all got to come to jail. They get up every day and they get dressed to come to jail. The lieutenant said, "You something else, El-Aton." And he left. I said, "I gotta love you too, Lieutenant. You cool. But every day you come to jail. I bet you I ain't coming down here once I get up out of here." You know what I'm saying? Boy, you volunteer. Think about it. They in prison too. Every day. And they be getting hurt. And it's dangerous. They're running the game on everybody. They the whole game is to make you think you're doing better so they can run over you too. This whole political stuff is a scam to distract you. It's a straight scam. Nobody's talking about no real issues. They ain't talking about nothing real. And they dumb. Because they're going to put robots in there and they're going to all go broke. Because robots don't spend no money. So if I was y'all, I would not put my energy in all of this Trump political stuff. Man, don't be putting your energy into that. It's pissing me off because it's like the Babylon system trying to make me put my energy into that by that stuff on my timeline every day. That's why I'm talking about this. Because I get all that stuff on my timeline every day. I'm like, I don't want to see this every day. I don't give a damn about Trump, Epstein, and none of that. Man, I don't care nothing about that. My whole timeline. I said, this is some real Babylon stuff, man, because I be watching everything. And they done took over everybody I be watching. Everybody I be watching, they got all of them on Trump Epstein. They got everybody on that every day. The brainwashing is heavy. Think about it. Think about the brainwashing, how they revealing that like it's new, and they've been knowing that. They've been knowing that for 20 years. How long they been knowing what Epstein been doing? Why all of a sudden now? Oh, it's oh God, Epstein. Oh, why now? You know why? Because they getting rid of Trump. That's why. Trump is a sucker. They played him just like dominoes. They set him up. They set Trump up. He's the fall guy. They never liked him. I feel sorry for him. Yeah, but I be deep. My mind be somewhere else. I look at Trump, I be like, damn, man, they doing dude dirty as hell. Man, they doing Trump dirty. Trust, man, they doing him dirty. They set him up. You can see it in his face. He see it. He like, damn. He thought the system was all great. They set his ass up. They did it smooth too. Set him up. He's a fall guy. Y'all telling me all of a sudden they disgrace him. Y'all really believe the Democrats doing that? Y'all believe the Democrats is doing that? Come on, man. Y'all know that ain't the Democrats. Democrats ain't got no power like that. Y'all know this the higher ups doing that. Y'all know that. Why would the Democrats do that when they in the Epstein files too? Man, listen, a creep ain't got no. At the time Trump was doing Epstein, he wasn't no Republican. Look, at the time Trump was running around with Epstein, was he a Republican? No, he was just a socialite. He had no political affiliation back then. Remember, he was dating a black chick. So dude, if the prince in England was there, that means everybody was there. Everybody was there. So you got to ask yourself, why now? They set him up. They never liked him. They never liked him. They used him. They used him. Now they gonna throw him in the garbage. I mean, this play on him is historical. Look how they make look how in just 2-3 weeks they make everybody hate him. Y'all don't see that? They made everybody hate him. Right when his health is failing. They know it, they know it, they know it, they know it. You know what all this stress gonna do, right? Now you talking about, I'm sure I'm going to hell. He talking about being unalive. He talking about passing away. You see his whole energy. Why did they use him? To use the American people to put everybody to sleep. Look, Dick Tracy, all of them government business move he made, who made the most money? Him or the billion and trillionaires? Who who made all the money? Who just got filthy rich? Him? No. He got a few millions. But all them deals he cut and stuff, who really got paid? Who really bought all the land in the United States? Who really own us? Because he sold you. They used him to buy you. Dick Tracy. They used him to boss. We bought and paid for. Listen, who believed Trump came up with 50-year mortgage idea? Ain't no way. Y'all know Trump ain't smart like that. Y'all know damn well Trump ain't no type of person that sit back and say, I'm going to do no 50-year mortgages. That don't even sound like nothing he would ever think about in his life. He going to be on Truth Social posting. Who believed Trump made that up? Donald Trump. Y'all know Trump ain't thinking like nothing like that. So, and for them to say 50-year mortgage, who somebody must have bought all the houses. Somebody must have sold up a lot of property. Hey, Dick Tracy. Somebody must have bought a bunch of these houses. Somebody bought all these foreclosed houses. Heck yeah, Goshen. It was the it was the underplay for the overplay. They ran the game. I'm telling you, they ran the game, a ugly game. Who remembers when they were saying that America's finna collapse and it's just gonna be a place where robots at and packages get put together and shipped out? And that the rich was gonna be in Europe and Asia and all over there. And America wasn't gonna be nothing but a computerized slave port. Who remember that? What was that, about 8 to 12 years ago? Like when I first started getting on live, remember they was pushing that? They were saying America's just gonna be a slave, a computerized slave port. They were saying that all the rich white politicians was buying property in Pride, I think. Was it Pride? They was going over there buying property in Pride. If I'm not mistaken. I think that was the place. Some place like that. What's that place in Europe? Somebody know what I'm talking about. What's that place? I remember they would say they was going over there and they was buying all that land over there that the rich people over here in America, that all the politicians had homes over there. Y'all remember that? Remember, what was that? 10 years ago, 9, 10 years ago, they were saying all of the American politicians got homes over there. And the Netherlands. They were saying that all of the United States politicians, that's Romney and all them retire, I'm retiring. Rodney and all them, I'm retiring. Everybody retiring. Everybody stepping down early. Where they at? And they was talking that back then, that America just gonna be the new slave port. Game streaming know what I'm talking about. Yup. Remember that? Yup. Prague and Brussels. Remember that? That was like the conspiracy theory. You know what my father told me? My father showed me one of these cities that got destroyed after around the war. It was all rebuilt. And my father told me, he said, you see this city? See how nice it is? He said, every time they go and have one of these wars and they destroy these places, it's really a demolition. They just pretend it's a war. And they're going to rebuild it. One of them cities over there uh, that had got Beirut, was it Beirut? I think it's Beirut. Beirut. They had my daddy showed me Beirut. It was totally destroyed. And then they went and made it really nice, right? And my daddy said they did that with Beirut. He said, my daddy said they pretended that they was destroying Beirut so they could rebuild it. Exactly what they doing in Gaza. Hey, GD, I was just finna say that. That's exactly what Gaza is. Beirut, back when we was young, they had destroyed it. My daddy told me, he said, they'll pretend it's a war. He said, but it's just cheaper to blow it up than it is to come in with demolition crews. It's cheaper to have the military blow it up. And my daddy taught me that. He said, anytime, son, in the future, when you see them destroy a whole city like that, he said, look how old it'll be. He said, I guarantee it'll be old. They would never destroy a new place. He said it'll be old. And then they'll come and they'll rebuild it. That's what they're going to do to Gaza. In a lot of places. A lot of places finna get destroyed. They've been looking at Africa, but it's too hot. It's pestilence and stuff, so they ain't been able to figure out how to move to Africa. The environment's too much. But all of that Middle East, oh, they want that. Syria and all that, they better be ready. Iran, Iraq, they'll blow all that up and rebuild that. The reason Africa, because of the pestilence and the heat, they can't do the heat. That's why Africa is protected. They can't do Africa. That's why if you look at Africa, you'll see it's only totally conquered up on the north part where they can take the weather. It's only conquered Libya up at the top, Egypt, because their weather's a lot like Chicago weather up there. They can't handle that. They can't handle that Congo, Nigeria. They can't handle that weather. They unless they figure out a way to build like domes and stuff, then they'll try Africa. But they got to move somewhere now. And they want the Middle East. They want that you know how much land is right there? From Egypt all the way to where Israel is? All that's wide open. All that's wide open. They taking that. Israel got nice weather. It's not too hot for them. It's not too hot. They can't do Africa. Africa got mosquitoes that pick you up and fly off. Africa too wild. That's why Black Americans ain't staying in Africa. I'm laughing because I know this queen, and she was always arguing with me about going to Africa. Fine queen too. And I said, no. So when she went, she was so happy. She was talking crazy to me. So she moved to Africa. She was there 18 months. I said, why you back? She said, Pharaoh, you get on my nerves. She said, man, one day, she said, a big old bug came from under my bed. She said, you should have seen that thing. And she said, you told me something, what I was thinking. She said, I was just thinking Africa. I wasn't thinking it's warm and they're going to have African bugs. She said, I told my husband, She said, I told my husband, She said, they got bugs we don't got over here. She said, Black American women don't know African bugs, she said. She said, African bugs is something else. She said, some of them mosquitoes, man, they big. And she was like, man, they got a lot of bugs. I said, it's Africa. She's like, I don't know what I was thinking. I said, it's Africa. Ain't nobody gonna have bugs like Africa. It's Africa. You know what I'm saying? Africa, the black woman in the West, she ain't gonna be able to handle Africa. You know what I'm saying? That's why Steve Harvey didn't go back. He said, man, he said that mosquito looked like a dragonfly. Steve Harvey said, nah. You see what I'm saying, Josh? You can't even imagine. Don't be thinking about frogs and the stuff in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Black women don't like snakes. You know what I'm saying? What kind of snakes they got in Africa? They got snakes, man. They got serious snakes, okay? What kind of snakes they got in Africa? Because I know black women, a lot of y'all can't live in Florida. A lot of y'all black women can't live in Florida. One of my people in Florida, would you tell them? These black women up north, they can't live in Florida, can they? Soon as they see iguana, they out of there, ain't they? Man, soon as she go to her car and the iguana run from under the car, it's a wrap. Not to mention the alligators. The alligators is in Florida big time, man. When I was down there mixing my album, I was staying in this subdivision like property. First off, in Florida, it's too hot. Like serious. Ain't nobody outside in Florida until 6 o'clock in the evening. Ain't listen. Everybody in their car. There is nobody outside in Florida in the daytime. It's a different kind of hot. Okay? On my soul, it's a hot. It's a whole nother, kind of hot, man. Now, depending on where you at, somebody might be where they get a breeze, but typically though, it's another kind of hot. And so it was super hot. I was down there at Full Sails. So I ain't lying. Full Sails, one of the famous music school. And my boy worked down there, so I could go down there. He mixed my album for free. Because he worked at Full Sails, got all the top equipment. Man, I looked outside. It was a big ass alligator in the sprinkler. You know what I'm saying? Dude was hot. In the neighbor's yard across the street, he was big. He was just under the sprinkler, chilling. He was big. I said, hell no, under the sprinkler. You know what I'm saying? It's hot than a mug. I tell you something else about Florida too. Here's another thing about Florida. Like if you go down there on the beach, it's hot. All right. Now at a certain period, the sun go down just a little bit and it cool off a little bit. It's crazy. Florida's crazy. Anybody in Florida tell you ain't lying. And it's a temperature where it be so hot. And then in the evening time, not when the sun go down, but when it's finna go down, when the sun go down a little bit, the mosquitoes pop out. And I mean, they pop out. Anybody will tell you I don't know what time it is, but it's like about 90 minutes before the sun go down. It's weird. And then once the sun go down, it ain't no mosquitoes nowhere. I think the breeze off the ocean blow them away or something. But man, it's real hot. And as soon as it go down some, they pop all the way out. It tripped me out because I was on the beach and I was wondering why everybody was selling mosquito stuff, right? So I'm like, typically you're gonna go like Walgreens or CVS got mosquito stuff, but no, the Gyro man had mosquito stuff, the Juice man everybody had mosquito repellent in every store. It looked weird, but I ain't paying no attention until that heat went down a little bit. And man, Florida mosquitoes, come on, man. I know blacks in Florida, them some gangsters. Leave black people in Florida alone. Boy, let me tell you something. They're the most gangsters mosquitoes I done seen. And I've been to Alabama and a lot of places. Man, them mosquitoes in Florida is real gangsters. They will fly and go up your pants leg and eat you up. In Chicago, mosquitoes don't go up your pants leg, boy. Down there, they go under your skirt, up your pants leg, the whole nine. They will eat you up. I had to run into place and spray. I had to go get the mosquito stuff. And then all of a sudden, when it like went down and you get that little breeze, they just disappeared. I was like, maybe the wind get too much for them or something. But that 90 minutes to 2 hours there, man, let me tell you something. They will eat you up. They will pick you up and fly away. Real talk. You better have some citronella oil or something. You better have some citronella oil if you don't want the chemicals. And you better, ladies, they going under your skirt. They biting your thighs. If you got a long skirt down past your knees, do you know they will fly all the way up and bite you up by your pennies? They gangsters, man. They're the most gangsters mosquitoes that I done seen. And it's like they really thirsty because they only got a small time period. I guess it's been so hot. They in the bushes. Like here in Chicago, you go to the beach and it's hot outside and you go to the bushes to try to leak in the bushes, you're going to get ate up because they in the bushes like this, trying to wait for it to cool off. They come out them bushes, boy. And then the birds come out. When the mosquitoes come out, the birds come out. They be eating them. It's crazy. The ecosystem is crazy. In Chicago on the beach in the summertime, the sun go down so much and mosquitoes come out and you can see the birds just, you know what I'm saying? The gnats and the fruit flies, all of them come out because that sun too hot for little bugs. It kill little bugs, so they be back under the bushes. You know what I'm saying? But Florida is the most gangsters mosquitoes. So imagine Africa. Because Florida is basically Africa. Florida is South Africa. I ain't gonna lie. Florida is hot. Beautiful place though. I love Florida. But it's just don't make no plans in the daytime. Go sit your ass down somewhere. Don't make no plans in the daytime in Florida. It's a different kind of hot, man. The first time we went down there, I was a kid. We had driven from somewhere, maybe Alabama. And my daddy, we in Florida. My daddy get out the car to put some gas in the car. And when my daddy got out the car, he almost fell out. When my daddy got out that air conditioned car in Florida and that sun hit him, he almost fell out. My mom had to jump out and run around and grab him and hold him up against the car and get him back in the car so he could, you know what I mean? Hey, I'll tell you something else too. I was a kid, and I'm gonna let y'all go. And we went to Disney World. And Disney World had a ride called It's a Small World. Nice ride though. I liked it. I was a kid. So when you get in there, it's like a little canoe ride, a little boat ride that go and they go all around the world. So it got all these little dolls singing It's a Small World in different languages. The Africans are singing it, the Australians, the Europeans, the Asians. It's nice. This was crazy. So while we standing in line, we finally get to the spot where we under the thing and it started raining hard in Florida. I mean, it was raining hard, like raining, the ground soaking wet, puddles. We get on the ride. The ride going around. When me and my sister come out the ride, it ain't no water nowhere. Florida's tripped. It wasn't no water nowhere. I never seen that in Chicago before. That's how hot it was. That it stopped, it rained real hard, and it stopped while I was in there. And we came out, everything was bone dry. I'll tell you another time. One day we was in Florida and it was raining and the rain wasn't hitting the ground. If I'm lying, I'm dying. It was raining like a light drizzle. And it was so hot that there was no drops on the ground. The ground. The rain only went to here. I swear to God. The rain came down, and that's as far as the rain got. It never touched the ground. I couldn't believe it. It was raining. It was a little more like a not a light drizzle, like a kind of heavy drizzle. But it was so hot. The ground was bone dry. The rain did it. I said, dang. The rain didn't even touch the ground. I'm saying, Daddy, why the ground ain't wet? He like, it's hot than some bitch out here. Evaporate before it hit the ground on everything. It was evaporating. That tripped me out. But when we went in that ride and came out and I didn't see, I looked too. Because I'm thinking maybe it's a dip somewhere. It's going to be some water. It's not no water. You know how water leave that dark spot when everything was back like it was before it rained. And it rained hard. And we just went in one ride and came out and you could not tell it rained. That's Florida. Florida's crazy hot. Florida's crazy hot. But they got some fine women down there. Them women's skin look good. They don't got all them blemishes and stuff. Anyway, that's a little history about Florida. Florida. Shout out to everybody in Florida. I love Florida though. I've been to Florida a few times. I like Florida. Florida's nice. I didn't see the iguana. I didn't see the iguana when I went. But I got relatives and stuff live down there. Like some of them when they moved from Alabama, they moved down there. So that's why we was down there. I got relatives in Florida. You know what I'm saying? No, he not in Orlando. He in some other part of Florida now. He in some other part of Florida. Well, two of them. I got two of them down there, but we don't know where the middle one at. Nobody be knowing where he at. He down there, but I don't know where. He might be in my. I got two sons in Florida. The middle one, he tripped out. Even on his social media, he got a chicken head. He never show his face nowhere. Everybody know they can't find him. The youngest one found him for a minute. My middle one, he deep. He don't he don't got no picture on social media nowhere. I think he got one video down there with some girls on the beach. He like some kind of playboy or something. So his brothers can't even keep up with him. So you know I can't keep up with him. I'm like, where he at? They like, oh man, we don't know. He tripped out. My sons is tripped out. I got two by one woman and another one by another one, but they all look like they came from the same mama and daddy. They look the same. I don't know. I don't know where they be. I don't know where they at. They like that. I told my cousin, I'm like, man, I don't know where they be at. He said, you got a lot of nerve. We didn't know where the hell you was at. I said, oh yeah, that's right. Nobody knew why was that. He said, we didn't know you was where you was at. I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. They're like, you on this island, then you on the other island. Like we didn't know where you was at. I was like, oh yeah, that's where they get that from. I forgot. Cause I've been all over the place. My middle son, he probably in Miami. My oldest son, I don't know where he at. I gotta find out. He a cartoonist and he do illustrates cartoons, so he be all over the place. I'm like, boy, what you doing? I'm a minimalist. He told me he a minimalist. I said, that's why I minimally see your ass. he a minimal. He do animation called he do cartoons and shit for Hollywood and shit. So I don't know where he is either. The only one I can keep up with is the baby, the youngest. When he find them, he keep up with them. So I keep up with him, and he keep up with them. They don't be keeping up with me and checking up on me. Cause they be like, "Well, I ain't gotta check up with you until you get 90." I'm like, basically. I'm like, check up on you for what? Hey, you might outlive our ass. I'm like, basically. How to let your children grow up and not know how they're living? I mean, they not children, they grown. Them ain't no children, them is grown men. Those is my offspring. I don't got no children. I'll talk about it. Basically, it's like this. That's just how life is. I got six offspring. Okay, the girls, boom. When they get married, they meet a man, she gone. Like that's his woman now. That ain't your little girl no more like that. Now, in some cases, people live around each other. They might be a part of church. They might live like that. But it's not easy for me to live like that because don't none of us live in the same place. We all over the whole country. But I don't be worrying about him like you shouldn't be worrying about him. He's 17, he doing what he do. Yeah, King the King is my youngest son. Uh, they doing what they do. It don't make no sense to worry about them. They doing them. The baby, she don't call never. I could text her whatever. She don't call. She don't be messing with the phone or nothing. She'll hit me like 5 days later, 10 days later. Oh, my bad, Dad. You know these adults. They ain't. I ain't really raised mine to be up under me and their mama like that. They know I want them to check with their mama. My youngest son, his mother passed away. They don't really got to check with me. They check, make sure their mama all right. I don't do no, I don't do no little kid stuff. They ain't no little kid. And it's like if something happened, ain't nothing I could do anyway. Say, well, if something happened to me, what they gonna do about it? It just is what it is. You can't babysit them. Plus, what I'm gonna do? Cause I'm finna fly to town and be writing, so I don't be in one spot either. They can't find me either. If I didn't have a phone, they wouldn't know where the hell Daddy at. But I don't be worrying about no. I don't be worrying about no adults. Once your ass old enough and you move out, it's a wrap. That's why you raise them when they little, and that's why you teach them everything, especially from fifth grade through high school. That's why you put all the knowledge in them. Then they go do what they go do. What I think of family reunions, family reunions, family reunions is played out. Family reunions was based on my mom and daddy was from Alabama. Boom, they come to Chicago. My grandmama go to Detroit. Boom, she come to Detroit. Boom, go to Alabama family reunion. But now, how you gonna do a family reunion? My kids all over the country. It ain't like back in the South when they made movies about going and see. Now, it's not the Great Migration no more. Nobody having them type of family reunions no more. The family ain't nowhere to reunite no more. The family all over the place. Family reunions was like people lived in one city or two cities. Now a family could be everywhere. So like if you in the South in Texas or Georgia and most of your family in Georgia, yeah, you can have a family reunion. But a lot of us that come from the Great Migration, Once we left Alabama or Mississippi, our family down there, and if the other people in that family moved too, the only way you could keep that is if everybody stay there. Now, if everybody stay in Alabama, then there's a place to go see. But if everybody start leaving Alabama too, and then they have children, and then they start leaving, you know what I'm saying? So it's like the only, so if I had a family reunion, it'd be hard. It'd be real hard. It wouldn't be easy. That's for sure. It'd be difficult. Even when we was coming up, family reunions was difficult because we mostly went to my mother's family reunion. We didn't. My father and them didn't have a lot of family reunions because his mother and father passed away when he was young. So my grandfather had family reunions on my mother's side. That was it though. Once they had more kids and went all over the place, I ain't really heard about no family reunions down there. My cousins still linked in with everybody down there, but they ain't having family reunions like that no more. Family reunions is closer to slavery. Once so this generation and that generation and that generation, everybody spread all out like that, it gets a little crazy. They might try to figure out how to have one on my mother's side some kind of way. Maybe on my daddy's side too. I don't know. But it'll be a bunch of people don't know each other. I ain't been to Alabama. I stopped going to Alabama when I was a shorty. When they put my grandfather off that farm, and the man that my granddaddy worked for told my daddy he could have it, and then he passed away, and that man's brother put my granddad off the farm, and my mother took me down there. My granddaddy was in the house, and I never went back. Once I once I seen they took my granddaddy farm, and I seen his vibe, he wasn't never no more the same when he didn't have all them animals in that farm. So I never went back. And my mother, I always think about that. My mother didn't take me back either. Parents know. My mother never took me back down there when I said I didn't want to go. She probably knew. If she was alive, I asked her, Mom, why you never took me back? You could tell I didn't want to go, huh? She's like, yeah, I didn't want to go. I was like in high school. I think I was probably like a freshman. I didn't want to go back. It had a lot to do with me becoming like angry and militant because I wanted to do something to people over there. Like even now, me and my cousin's supposed to go down there, and I kind of want to find out. I kind of want to holler at who got that property. I think we got from my cousin, like, you know what I'm saying? The families didn't get weak when the elders passed. I don't know what you mean by that. The families didn't get weak when the elders passed. The families were spread out. When the elders was here, the families lived close. By the time the elders passed away, the families was all over the place. They didn't get weak. That's the wrong description. My mother took me and my sister. My mother and father left Alabama, came here. My mother came here. My father came here with his brothers, some of his brothers. They was here. My grandmother and my uncles went to Detroit. So it was real easy for my mother to go get my grandmother, take her down south to see their relatives. Okay? They didn't just spread out. They had babies and it ain't the same family. That family gone. You want a reunion from a family that's not alive no more. And so then me and my sister. All right, so me and my sister. So I'm gonna break it down to you. My sister get married, she got two sons. Cool. My mother and father passed away. I got six children. At one point I lived in Hawaii. I lived in California, Hawaii. Ain't no way I'm okay. The people in Alabama, they are moving. So everybody ain't even in Alabama no more. Because those people start passing away and then they got young children and their young children move here. So the family don't get weak, the family gets stronger, but the family don't live in close proximity. I wouldn't call that weak. The family don't live in close proximity. So this one get married, he go to the military, he in San Diego. This one get married, he there, got three children. So the same way you had the Great Migration, that Great Migration turned into more migration. So the same way some family members left Alabama and went to Michigan and went to Chicago and Detroit, then they got kids, their kids go, right? Because the main thing that really made us move is, all right, boom, my childhood friend, we grow up. Bam, I get up, I go to why he go to school in Texas. When he go to school in Texas, all he got to do is fall in love with a woman in Texas. He might not never come back from Texas. So college got a lot to do with it too, because a lot of young people, when they go away to college, they end up staying where they went to college at. So it's like, no, the family don't get weak. The family is always only the nucleus anyway. The extended family is make believe. That's a TV show. That's not realistic. And these days, the family is really just a family. It ain't that extended situation. You can't have me and my six children and they children attached to my mama's and daddy's family. That's just too many people. All my cousins and stuff live a billion different places. You know how much money it would cost? And you know how much it would take to try to find everybody and get everybody to fly back? That would be crazy. Some families is trying to do it, they struggling doing that. The ones that are having them. The only ones that's able to really have a successful union is the ones where bulk of the family stayed in the same place. Like a bunch of them still in Mississippi, they can do it. But the ones where everybody moved, it's impossible. Totally. The extended family, you can't keep up with the extended family. I don't know. Because I don't know if I would go down there and I wouldn't be in a position to get it like that because it was my mama's daddy. He had children, so they would get it. My mama's brothers would get it before me, my mama's brothers, and then her brother's sons would get it. Like my uncle Snoop would have been the one that got it, so it wouldn't have came to my mama anyway, like that. it wouldn't have went to my mom anyway. It would have went to my uncles. And they when I go down there, I talk to them about it and see what they want to do. But it would be to them grandboys that was still down there, basically. I just was on GP, just didn't like the way they did them. But my granddaddy had some other children, my uncles and stuff. So that goes back to what I'm saying, like when the family big and get bigger and get bigger and get bigger, unless y'all live in the same state, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't go down there and try to press them down there because I don't know the situations down there. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't press them on no negative shit anyway. But if I went down there and some company owned it, the problem would be is whatever I'm supposed to get, it would have to also be split up with his other siblings and their descendants. So it get a little tricky anyway, because that inheritance would go to his three sons, and then he had three daughters, so the six of them. See what I'm saying? My mama was just one of his children. My cousin's mom, my aunt Niecy is his other daughter, then little Niecy, and then D and May and Uncle Snoop. That's his children. So then it's really between my mama and her children. My mama's passed away already. And then the boys down there, they're down through that lineage is still down there. Now they didn't stand on nothing. So then the question be how I could come from his daughter by my grandmother because he had got remarried to another woman, not my grandmother. My grandmother went with us though, but she was living in Detroit. Just on GP the way they took it from him though. If there was some type of way to holler at him, I would. You know what I mean? I would just stand on their necks. Just I wouldn't really be caring about the money. It's the principles. I wouldn't give a damn if he gave the money to it ain't the money. It's the fact y'all robbed my granddaddy. It ain't about the money. But if I did find a way to talk to him and get some money, I would call all the relatives, find out how many it was, and then I would split it. But I wouldn't be able to go down there and be on no gangster shit and get out of there safe. And then I don't know if that company sold it to another company, if whoever took it sold it to somebody, the person they sold it to ain't responsible. So I would have to get the details because the person that owned it now might not got nothing to do with none of that. They'd be like, we don't got nothing to do with none of that. Only if the family that gave it to my daddy is still in control of it, then yeah. But if it's gone to somebody else, it's a wrap. But when me and my cousin go down there, we're gonna check it out because my cousin, that's his grandson too, by my aunt. That's gonna be two of my grandfather's grandson down there. We're gonna check. But it's just the principle, depending on who I'm talking to. It's not really about the money. It's just the principle. Back then, they couldn't do nothing about it in the '60s and the '70s anyway. They would have got lynched down there. My mom and them couldn't do nothing about that, and I was a kid. I just didn't like it though. I didn't like it. Me and my cousin, we gonna go down there. We're supposed to go this summer. You know what I'm saying? The thing about land and stuff like that, once there be so many babies, it gets split so many different ways. It gets crazy. You know what I'm saying? It would definitely go to the sons, but the sons might be all gone. Then it would go to the daughters, so it probably would go to little niecey, unless sister's still alive. I don't know. I gotta go find out. But I doubt if we would get anything because it's probably been sold to somebody else. Big Corp probably went in there. But what I was talking about, no gangster stuff. I'm talking about, let's say it's big corporation, right? I would go talk to them though and be like, listen, man, my grandfather had this land, got to take any, I know it ain't y'all, but kick me down some. Can't y'all kick me down something for that? I give it to the kids. I go with a proposition where it just be charity like shit with them. I just tell them the story. They need to know the story. I would go tell them the story. If it's Libby's or some big company that's, I'd go tell them the story though. Yeah, I'd find out who the president is and write him or go see him and tell him the story. But I wouldn't call it pressing him or nothing because he might not have nothing to do with the situation. The person I wanted to press is probably been on the line. That's the brother. You know what I mean? But it's definitely my grandfather directly, my mother's father. That's why we want our reparations because America cheated us. That's what reparations is all about. That's why we're not playing about our reparations. Reparations not no joke. And those of us that was going to the South in the '60s and the '70s, we know how serious it is. Some of y'all don't know. If y'all young, you ain't got no idea how serious it is. It's real serious. It wasn't no long time ago. That was just yesterday. But I just brought it up because my mother knew I never did. I never went back. With land we can feed ourselves, not really. A lot of that's make believe, Josh. You know what I'm saying? So, Josh, when you hear a lot of these people talking about land and grow food and all that, they ain't never grew nothing. So they just talking. Growing food ain't easy. So you have people trying to get some land, grow our own food. They just be talking. You can tell they ain't no growers. Because growing food is not guaranteed that the food gonna grow. That's still a. But people talk about, yeah, they just gonna go and the food just gonna grow. Not really. You need cooperation with the weather. If the weather don't cooperate, you ain't growing nothing. So like growing food is not a safety net, like people be saying. I be hearing people talking about growing food like it's a safety net. They just be talking. You could grow food and starve to death too. Just because you was growing some food don't mean you won't starve. That's people that never grew nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because if you grew stuff, you know crops is. The last time I grew something behind my father's house is a perfect example. We couldn't even plant the stuff on time. We had to plant late. So the watermelon never got ready because we had to plant late because it kept raining too long. As a matter of fact, that year, a lot of the corn crop in Illinois and Indiana got wiped out because it rained too long for the farmers to plant. It was a disastrous year that year. That's why they grow it everywhere. That's why they grow corn here. So if this get wiped out, they still got it over there. But yeah, Illinois and Indiana, that year I planted that big old all that food behind my parents' house. That was a bad year. It kept raining too long. Like if you grow herb, right? And you plant the herb and you grow it, and then it get nice big buds, and it's almost time to harvest. And let's say them buds will be ready. You only need like a week. Let's say a week before they ready, it start raining hard. And let's say it rained 3 or 4 days straight. Them buds is ruined. Yeah, them buds is done. Because now that it's buds, it's gonna hold too much water, it's gonna mold. As long as it's just leaf, the water run off the leaf and it'll drink it and grow. But once it start making buds and them buds get too wet, so plant ruined. Cause them leaves gonna dry off and drip off, but them buds gonna get spongy and too wet and mold. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But what I'm saying, tell them what I'm saying is wrong though. What happened when your bud's ready and they keep raining and it don't stop? Your crop will be ruined, won't it? You could say you're overconfident, but if you really a grower, you know you totally at the mercy of the weather. If you're a real grower, Josh. If you're a real grower, you know you're at the mercy of the weather. All your success is based off the weather. Any real grower know that. You got to have the weather. Got to. If the weather don't cooperate, your stuff wiped out. I grew in a tropical environment. Same thing. Don't matter what environment. If the weather don't cooperate, you're out of there. You got to have rain at the right time. You got to have rain at the right time, and you got to have access to water if you ain't got rain. So if you ain't got rain, you better have access to some water. But the worst thing can happen is rain at harvest time. It's got to dry up at harvest time. Because if it rain on them strawberries for 3, 4 days, them strawberries is finished. That stuff will mold just sitting in that water because it's ready. So it don't want to get wet no more. It's time to pick it. And the water don't run off no more. Now the water soaks in. See, when it's young, the water run off. Like a young watermelon, the water will run off. But when the watermelon is ripe, the water will soak in and make the rind gooky. It'll make the rind, the watermelon rind, sitting in the mud. It's got to be in the dirt. If the watermelons is sitting in the mud and they're not ready yet, you're gonna have to go figure out something. You're gonna have to find some plastic or something. You're gonna have to try to do some magic. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Growing is, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a greenhouse is limited. So if you're growing in a greenhouse, then you ain't growing that much. So that ain't no food. If you got it in a greenhouse, that ain't nothing to eat. That ain't nothing to survive. Now, if you're trying to grow food to survive, that's a lot of greenhouse. Because if you're talking about growing food to survive, you're gonna need some acres. You can't survive off no an acre of food won't last you no time. You know what I'm saying? And the problem with growing is if you grow a lot of food, now you gotta know how to store it. So you gotta know how to preserve it, how to store it. Can you dry it? Okay. In other words, the people that's watching me don't know. Don't let nobody fool you. Like it's work. Okay. It's not like because people tell you go grow, and you can tell they ain't growing. Now growing, yeah, it's a lot of work, and there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of stuff can happen, a lot, and it could get quite expensive, especially if you got to fight off pestilence and you know worms and bugs. I mean, it's a all day job. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you got a whole lot of money and you could go put up 3 acres of greenhouses, that'll be all right as long as a bad windstorm don't come because it will blow that shit down, right? Yeah, it will. You will wake up and the greenhouses be upside down. So this is why I say it take the environment got to the environment got to help you because the greenhouse is a kite. If the wind if the wind come through a greenhouse, will turn into a kite. Because greenhouse is not brick. That's why you don't live in a greenhouse because you can't protect yourself from the elements in a greenhouse. Okay, let's keep it real. So a greenhouse is also at the mercy of the wind. And if the wrong wind come through, greenhouse gone. Gone. You can't stake that stuff down. That stuff ain't, you know what I mean? So that's why they like to do potatoes, sweet potato stuff up under the ground. They can kind of make it. Potatoes underground, they can kind of make it. But growing is, you know, and you don't get that much food. And it's a job. You're going to be working. You're going to be working and working and working and working. And then you're going to get that little bit of food. Then you got to go do that all over again. And you got to do that every year. That's why people don't be growing. That's why they don't be growing food. Survivalists don't grow food. Survivalists is dog eat dog. You might not be no vegan if you're trying to be a survivalist. Because when it comes to survival and having food, just then you ain't gonna grow shit. You're gonna get you some chickens because chickens have eggs every day, and you can eat every day. You just eat eggs. So any real survivors tell you, you know what I'm saying? You know I'm gonna give it to you $1 billion. You want to make sure you got food? Get you some chickens. Chickens lay mad eggs. Ask somebody. If you talk about 911 and starving, it's better you eat some eggs than to eat your sister or eat or grill your arm, half of your arm. You so hungry because the Bible said in the last days you're gonna be eating that one arm and somebody gonna be eating your other one. So we talk about like 911 emergency chickens. Chickens lay eggs constantly, constantly, a lot of eggs. Let me see. A healthy hen typically lays one egg every 24 to 26 hours. So every day she's gonna have an egg. Every day. So you get you 20 chickens. So you got 20 eggs a day. Got you 20 eggs a day. You'll be all right. You go back vegan when the world ain't ending again. that's why that's why God came to him when the flood came and said, okay, y'all can eat this and this and this because I know the flood messed everything up. That's why when you see and they say, well, God said you can eat meat, that was a contingency plan after the flood. After the flood and everything got messed up, that's when you was told you can eat this and this and this. But yeah, if I got a contingency plan, yeah, I get me some chickens. When I was in the county jail, I was eating egg sandwiches every day. You know, I'm the realest alive. I was in the county jail for 4 months. I was eating egg sandwiches on white bread, or whatever kind of bread it was. I think they said it was wheat, but it was that white looking wheat bread. Might as well have been white bread. I was eating egg sandwiches with cheese and mayonnaise. You know what I'm saying? I didn't eat no meat though. I gave the guys my meat, but they would give me their eggs in the morning. Man, get Pharaoh them eggs, man. And I was the egg sandwich eating dude. You know what I mean? I didn't ever go back and eat no meat though. That's a vegetarian. Eggs, cheese, milk, butter, honey. That's vegetarian. So when I went to the county jail for 4 months, I went back vegetarian. But yeah, I was on egg sandwiches and potato chips. You know what I'm saying? Egg sandwiches, potato chips, and push ups. I came out swole though. I came out swole, slapped me another baby out, bop, bop, bop. My last little baby. You know what I'm saying? She grown woman now. I told her the other day, I said, I think I'm gonna have another baby. She's like, Dad, stop. It's not funny. she man, my youngest daughter's tripped out, man. You know, having a wife sometimes like having a boss. Hey, have daughters. Same thing. Worse. At least a wife turn back to a wife. A daughter don't never the daughters stay a boss. Yeah, they bossy. Don't let nobody tell you women ain't bossy because they talking about mates. They talking about, talking about my queen. No, I got three daughters. They something else. The middle one ain't bossy. The oldest one, but the baby one, Jesus Christ. Y'all fellas ever had a woman and a daughter and that both of their periods come down at the same time? They don't tell all that drama men go through. Boy, they both of them that time out, they lock in like that. The mom and the daughter's period are lock in. Yes. They get on the same cycle. I don't know how that happened. Hey, you got two people in there you better not play with that any little thing could could turn serious. Any little thing could turn serious. All this is like 2, 3 days before the period, man. Remember that too. If your woman, write your woman's period down, okay? Write your woman's period down because she don't act up on her period. That's a lie. She act up 2 or 3 days before the period is when she act up. They're very nice and quiet and don't feel well when it happened. They've been lying, making you think when it happened. No. When it happened, they cool. They don't feel well. They quiet. But about 2 days, 3 days before, all hell break up. Because I had a queen, she kept acting a fool out of nowhere. And then one day she was acting a fool, and 2 days later, a period came down. I said, oh, so I started writing, I wrote it down. Oh, it's before. You're going to have a much better relationship because she's going to start acting up. You're like, babe, you know your period coming down. She's going to be like, I think you're right. She gonna be like, it's gonna make the relationship a lot better. She gonna be all and then you dad and you say, man, I think your period coming down. Then she gonna calm right down. She gonna be like, I think you right. I think you're right. And it save a lot of arguing and a lot of headache and stop you from thinking they crazy. Because you thinking she crazy. What is you crazy? So you gotta write it down. If you write it down, you have a beautiful situation. And she'll be happy too because you remind her, babe, I think your period coming down 2 days. I think so. And she'll calm down. Because when she be acting up, she don't know it's finna come down. She just know you getting on her nerves for some reason. You know what I'm saying? And you have to let her know, I'm not getting on your nerve. It's finna come down. You getting on your own damn nerves. Oh, I think you're right. I am right. I'm hip to you. So I always keep that. As men, I give y'all a game over this most game. Write down your queen's period. Because she don't act up when it comes down. She act up 2 or 3 days before. 2 or 3 days before. Shut up talking to her, as my daughter would favorite words, and my stepdaughter. That's their favorite thing. Shut up talking to me. That's their thing. That's what they say to each other. I really don't talk to them when it's get ready to pop. They be real nice when they come down. Feel good though. They don't feel good. Then you gotta get ready for the heat flashes in the midlife crisis. You gotta get ready for that. You might have to call a divorce attorney for that. And, empty nest syndrome, midlife crisis, and menopause. Ooh-wee. World War One, World War Two, and World War Three all happening at the same time. It's going down. It's going all the way down. You might have to break up with it and go back and hit it about 3, 4, 5 years later if you're still available. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, it's going all the way down. It's going all the way down. If you ain't never not been nothing, you ain't finna be nothing when that happens. She finna be hollering, cursing you out, sad and crying, all in 2 hours and 45 minutes. She gonna be mad, sorry, crying, angry, hollering, sorry again, and don't want to be bothered. All of those gonna happen just like that. I don't want to be bothered. I'm sorry. I'm mad. You get on my nerves. I don't want to be bothered. I'm really pissed. I'm going to bed. You get on my nerves. I ain't did shit too. You get on your own nerves. I keep telling you, put your nerves in your pocket so you'll stop getting on them. I mean, yeah, when they go through things, you know what I mean? They nice though. Different ones are different though. They ain't all the same. So different ones are different. So you might get a nice, chilled out lioness, you know. Sometimes I be picking them, I pick a tiger. I'm like a lion and a tiger ain't a good, you know what I'm saying? A lion and a tiger is a hell of, sometimes I mess up, I get a tiger. No, ain't no lion supposed to be made with no tiger. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no lion supposed to be mixing with no tiger. Let me tell you. So that's that. Hope y'all enjoyed the conversation. And we are out. Victory.